Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video we're going to take a look at Toxicroak, Shadow Toxicroak in the Open Great League. And you might think, that's a bit weird, this Pokemon, seeing this one here again in the Go Battle League. After the nerf, after the current meta being full of ground-type Pokemon, this cannot be good, right? And I was honestly expecting quite a lot from this Pokemon, and at the end of the day, rightfully so as well, because if you're going to take a look at the current meta, this is basically, especially up energy, which I guess is a little bit more difficult now with counter, is an absolute meta breaker. Like literally absolute meta breaker for the current meta. You're going to be able to fully found on the Feraligatr in the two-shoot scenario with this Pokemon because counter does so much damage. We're going to have other Pokemon here as well in the current meta we are very, very good against. For example, of course, Morpeko, we have counter that is going to allow us to just fully farm them down. We have Pokemon like Diggersby, we're going to be able to have counter for this. We're going to have Pokemon like Dunsparce, we have counter for this. But there are also other Pokemon that we can cover up with basically the coverage that we have. Clodsai, for example, we're going to have Mud Bomb for this Pokemon, and there are quite a lot of other Pokemon where you're just going to have perfect, super effective coverage against. For example, if you're up energy, you're going to have a great time against the Galarian Corsair as well, or against the Annihilate because you have Shadow Ball. Against the Drapion, you're going to be able to resist the fast move and resist Crunch, so they're forced to go for the Awkward Tail, and you're usually going to be able to win this matchup as well. Against Primeape, you're going to be able to resist the fast move and close combat, for example, making it a great answer to this Pokemon as well here. So yeah, like there's so many Pokemon where you're good against. We go through the list. Pangoro you're good against. Steelix you're good against. Of course, Marowak and stuff like this is going to be a bit more tricky, but for this we're going to have the Shadow Drifblim in the back. Shadow Drifblim is going to allow us also the Dugong to counter those ground-type Pokemon. And there was actually a team that I played, I think, over 10 seasons ago. It was my favorite team for like 2-3 seasons, which was Galarian Stunfisk, the Sayswap of Drifblim, and the Toxicroak in the back. And so we have kind of the core again of Toxicroak and Drifblim, which is kind of cool. And honestly, this team worked out really, really well for me. And most likely going to be some battles in there as well where I could have played some stuff better. But that all being said, of course, I'm always honest with you. Counter nerf is very much significant for this Pokemon. Like this Pokemon, if it had basically something similar to counter, with the energy generation of counter, it would be so much better. But the nerf to counter actually really hurt this Pokemon, like literally really hurt this Pokemon. This is the reason why I haven't seen this Pokemon for longer now. But I feel like in the current meta, it honestly has quite a sweet spot. Here, sadly, we actually lost this lead matchup against an Ice-type Pokemon, which is kind of weird. And we're going to see the Charger Bug in the back, which is going to be very difficult for us to deal with, because we have... Actually, we don't really have a great answer for Charger Bug, but Charger Bug is not really a common Pokemon anymore. Even though I feel like it is kind of underrated. I feel like this Pokemon should be kind of more common as well again, because it's actually really good in the current meta. But yeah, basically, Toxicroak has so much play in the current meta. And just especially in the two-shoot scenario, if we take a look at this Pokemon is amazing, like literally amazing. And so here the opponent's going to catch the move, try to catch the move onto the Azumarill. It didn't work out. We can still go into our Drifblim here. We have to take a super effective Ice Beam, but luckily it's not going to be enough to knock us out. But we can go for a Shadow Ball, and we can go for 2 more fast moves afterwards with Dugong in order to get at least some damage onto them here, and then try to go for the Drill Run. I have to hope that I can somehow outspeed the opponent's Charger Bug, but it is not really looking too good for us. We still hear the knockout against the opponent, but as we will see here, they're going to be able to farm us down, and we can move on to the next opponent. We're going to have an Azumarill on the lead, and here's the thing, we can just use this to generate energy and then swap out later on into your Dugong in order to catch the Ice Beam. If this works out like it did here right now, we are in such a good spot, like literally in such an amazing spot for ourselves, because we just have a ton of energy on our lead. We have some damage already thanks to counter on the Azumarill, which makes the matchup for Dugong a little bit easier. We're still going to be in a range where we can take too close to play rough on the opponent, and we can just overfarm a ton with the Dugong and hope that they're going to swap out eventually into the Drapion here, for example. We should have went for the Drill Run, to be fair. There's no real reason for me to go for the bait here. It allows me to take a hit here on this Pokemon, on my Toxicroak, but it doesn't really help us out because they're going to let the move go through anyway. They reveal that they have Marowak in the back, but I have 2 good answers against Marowak, so I'm not too worried. I have still my Drifblim here doing a ton of damage with Astonish. They're going to go for a bait here, well played by the opponent. But we can still go for the Icy Wind against them on the CMP time. And as they're going to be able to debuff the opponent's Pokemon here, I'm actually going to let the move go through, because a non-step debuffed Rock Slide is never going to be enough to knock us out. And so we're going to be able to go ahead and go into our Dugong. Go for the Icy Wind? I'm not too sure if this was actually a smart decision or not. it's going to allow us to survive a move here, I think. We're still gonna use a shield anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But let's see how this is gonna go. We're gonna try our best here. We're gonna go ahead and go for another charge move. It's gonna be another Icy Wind. If they let the move go through, that's fine by me as well. We're still gonna get them insanely low, but they decide to use a shield, which is okay for us. They're forced to go for a charge move here still, and this is range for to Astonish. And this is the thing as well, they have to go for Player Fear in order to knock me out, and Ice Beam would have not been enough. And this gives us perfect farm down here. We still have to farm on the Marowak, which works out as well, and we can move on to the next opponent. Next up, we're going to have here the opponent with the Talonflame. Talonflame is going to be a very interesting one for sure. We're going to see the swap out now into the Ferrothorn, and this kind of tells me already one thing, and I should have most likely played a bit differently, but then again, I was hoping there was something different in the back, but I'm most thinking it's going to be more Pekka in the back. This is a team that I showcased before as well. I think it's not a team that I actually created, like I used Talonflame Ferrothorn core for basically the last, nearly 20 seasons actually. Yeah, definitely used this call quite a lot, so like I'm very much familiar with this one. But as you can see here, luckily we can go for the full farm down. I make a bit of a mistake here. I should have went ahead and went for the drill run against the incoming Morpeko, which I expected to see here. I decided to go for the Icy Wind. It doesn't make sense. Luckily it just doesn't make sense to go for the Icy Wind here. There's not even an excuse for that one. Just give the opponent more farm and that for what? Like it doesn't work out. We're gonna swap out into the Driftbloom. They go into the Talonflame. We of course have to use a shield here, which is a bit of an annoying thing. But it is what it is, and as we will see, the opponent is gonna be able to, take the hit here. It's going to be the Icy Wind that they let go through, so we can go for the farm down with our counter user. But it is not looking too good for us, so yeah, we will see here that the opponent is going to have the Morpeko coming back in here, and even a Psychic Fangs is most likely enough to knock us out from this range, so good game to the opponent here. We can move on to the next one. So let's see on how this is gonna go. We're going to see here the opponent with the Greninja. Great lead for us. We see the swap out into the Mulligan and make a big mistake. I make a big mistake here. What I should be doing here at this point, I should be going ahead and go for the no shield on the first one, because I know I survived a discharge and I don't think that they would be able to fully farm me down. Luckily they decide to use a shield here, so I should no shield this one. Hopefully I do. Yes, I do. And now we see also how much damage it does. You would have been able to do that already in the beginning, but now I'm forced to use the shield to realign myself, and I'm like, it's gonna be a bit of a difficult time for me now. But at least I'm gonna have some drill runs for the Greninja, I guess, but I cannot really give the opponent too much energy either. So if they're gonna let the move go through, I'm gonna swap out into my Toxicroak to do some damage. And that's exactly what's going to be happening now. We got two counters in here, putting them now into the Astonish range, which is exactly what I kind of wanted to see here. As now we're gonna be able to go for the full farm down with our Driftbloom. They reveal that they have the Venusaur in the back, and this is going to be amazing because now we're going to be able to go for the Icy Wind, get the shield. We still survive any hit because everything is going to be resisted from the opponent. Venusaur would actually really do well with a bit of better coverage, like you would learn maybe Weather Ball Fire, as is a Pokemon that in the main series has also Chlorophyll, which usually it's used with Sunny Day basically, if you ever played the main series games. So like usually Pokemon that are tied to weather conditions get Weather Ball in Pokemon Go. For example, Roserade has also Chlorophyll, and that's why this Pokemon also has Weather Ball Fire as a Community Day move. But anyway, we're going to see Annihilate in the lead, and we have to try to go for the Shadow Ball and just stay in here. There are two things that could be happening here. If the opponent is a non-Shadow, you're going to be able to usually survive it and get to a Shadow Ball yourself, and then you can just use a shield here and fully farm them down with the Driftbloom. If they are the Shadow variant of the Annihilate, then you have to let the move go through and go for a Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb you still reach, the other move you don't reach, and both of them you reach with like 1 HP. You can't swap out because we have of course the Dewgong here ourselves, which is going to be very difficult against like Annihilate, like it's not going to be a Pokemon that we want there. And so, as we will see, we're going to see the drill run coming through from the opponent. We can still go for our own drill run as well. We should be in a very solid spot here, as this is going to allow us to get some nice damage onto them. It's not going to be enough to two-shot them, but we should hopefully be able to farm maybe some energy up now. But the opponent stops onto the Annihilate. Great swap there. We can knock them out, but now Dewgong is going to be a bit of an issue for us. The opponent Dewgong is going to swap in now here as well. We have still our shield, but it is not really looking good. Like, it's really not looking good. We are just getting too low with our Pokemon. Like, no matter what they have in the back, like, how am I supposed to win this one? And funnily enough, I think there was actually a Pokemon in the back that was to be really decent for us, generally speaking, to play against. Yes, it's going to be Diggersby, which the entire team actually hardwalls. But yeah, we just don't really have that luxury here right now, and so sadly we're going to lose this battle. But yeah, our entire team hard votes Diggersby, like literally. Bastion in the instantly, that's great. They swap out into the Annihilate, and that's great for us as well because we can swap out into our Driftbloom and we can take one Rage Fist and then just align ourselves. And this is like the cool thing about this one because yeah, Driftbloom is gonna not really enjoy the matchup against Bastion, but we're still able to do a lot of damage there against them. And you know what I can use as well now? The current bug that you deny the opponent's fast move, we go straight for a charge move if they swap in after a Pokemon died. And that's exactly what we're gonna do here, and this is exactly what's going to be also working out quite well for us because we got rid of the opponent's first fast move, but still got to the Ice Round here because of this, getting them a little bit lower. But they swap out anyway into the Wigglytuff, and thanks to our poison typing, we only take neutral damage from Charm, which is always great as well. And as you will see here, we're gonna have the opponent, now taking the Icy Winds, I guess, from our Dugong. We're going to use a shield here, and we're going to see here as well that the opponent is going to have to take that Icy Wind from us. It's going to allow us to put them into range. Oh no, actually they're going to use a shield. Want to put them into range where I can farm them down, but as you're going to see here, we overfarm by a little bit. I'm a bit worried about the Bastion, but we have Drill Run for this Pokemon, so that's why I try to go for the Drill Run straight away before they can do anything. This should be enough to knock them out here for sure. And so, let's see on how this is gonna go. We're gonna see here the Wigglytuff coming back in. We can go for another Drill Run. That's going to allow us to win us this battle for sure. And we can now, just move on to the next opponent. So, we're going to have here the Quillfish. Quillfish is going to be an interesting one. We're going to just catch the move here onto our Dugong. That's going to be a very solid one because it does barely any damage. Let's hop onto the Glade, but you know what is very important here right now is that the switch clocks are completely unaligned. That means that what we can do here is we are going to be able to just go ahead and go for more Icy Winds, try to force the opponent into a situation where, they are gonna be very close to being KO'd by just a few fast moves. I can use another shield here. And what we can do now is, we're gonna be able to just go ahead and go into the Driftbloom to snipe away that Gallade and all the energy that was still on it. And so now we still have 3 Pokemon left. They go into the Quillfish, which means they're kinda weak to Driftbloom, I guess? I don't know. But we can now go ahead and go for another Icy Wind, get them kinda low, and they reveal that they have Clefable in the back, and we can still reach another Icy Wind in time. And this is going to be amazing now, because as we will see here, we're gonna be able to go for the full farm down, and we're gonna be in such a great position where we just gonna see the swap out into the Toxicroak. I can still go for another charge move here with the Mud Bomb coming through, getting the final shield from the opponent, but we can still even counter them all the way down before they can go for a Moonblast, and this is gonna be a good game, because Quillfish just doesn't have the firepower to knock out all our Pokemon, and Toxicroak again here is actually gonna be able to knock them all out. We can move on. Drapion. Great matchup for us. Literally, again, a very solid matchup for us. I don't actually know if there's a way of them winning this. Maybe in the one-shield scenario they could be winning this. I'm gonna check this out real quick on the side. Because Toxicroak as a Shadow is just doing so much damage just with the fast move. But yeah, like the coverage of this Pokemon is just amazing. There's so many Pokemon weak to ground type moves, but so many Pokemon also weak to counter, basically. And then also Shadow Ball as coverage for the ghost type Pokemon makes Toxicroak such an interesting meta breaker currently, that I feel like it is such a cool Pokemon to run. Let me see, yeah. Drapion against the Shadow Toxicroak. Shadow Toxicroak wins every single shield scenario. There's nothing they can do in order to win this one. They even win if the opponent invests 2 shields and you only invest 1 shield because they can counter them down, I think. That's madness. So, like, yeah, Toxicroak has such a great option there, basically, against the opponent's Drapion, and they're, like, basically on every team. It's great against Diggersby, and it's just literally a meta core breaker right now. And just very much fun to see that kind of stuff as well. I always like to play like Pokemon that are a little bit more unique, that still have a lot of play, and not just memes. And Toxicroak is literally one of the perfect examples for this one, because they still have so much potential with this Pokemon, having the option to go ahead and do so much against the opponents just by counter alone, and having such a great coverage against the current meta is just lovely. We see here the Diggersby, we just play around currently with the opponent, because guess what? There's no way of them winning this battle. Like, they're at like -3 attack, I think, after this Icy Wind now. Like, what do they realistically want to do here? I'm not too sure. I don't think they're too sure either. And so, yeah, we're gonna be able to quite easily win this battle, and we can now move on to the next opponent. And again, like, Diggersby just doesn't want to stay in here. Like, it just literally doesn't want to. And oh, look what's coming in. Toxapex. And you might wonder, why do they go for a charge move here and not just swap out straight away? This allows us to put them into range where Driftbloom can fully farm them down. And what do they want to do though? Swap into the Diggersby afterwards? Have fun with the Icy Wind. swap into whatever they have in the back, have fun with the icy wind. Like, it's such a safe play for us. Because what we see here now, I can still even take the hit. I can just let the move go through. I don't really care too much about it. And as you will see here, we're gonna have the icy wind stored for Diggersby coming in. Perfect, literally perfect for us. As we will see here, we're gonna be able to go for another icy wind afterwards as well. And this is just going to be amazing for us because we can get them super low. We can swap out and they have Annihilate. Oh wait, that is the worst possible Pokemon they could have had in the back. Like, I was so sure that we would be able to win this battle so easily now. But Annihilate completely shifts us a little bit away there. We have the worst alignment possible currently with this team, which is really not ideal, as you can most likely imagine here. And so, yeah, as you will see, the opponent is going to be able to go ahead and go for another move. I can try my best to go for the Drill Run here now, excellent. Getting a ton of damage onto them, but can Toxicroak fully farm them down? I'm not too sure about it. I'm going to use a shield here, but it's going to be a very tough one for us, for sure. And as you will see here, the opponent is going to be able to go into the Diggersby and still get the KO. That is a big, big issue here. Because, as you will see, we can fully farm on the Diggersby. Now it's down to the Driftball and we lose with 1 HP. We need like 1 HP more. We need to survive 1 counter from the opponent. It did not work out, but it is what it is. It's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.